This is the Titan Futures 1 point a day challenge. Earning your living executing trades from the comfort of your home seems a lot more cool than most 9 to 5 gigs. Trouble is, if you don't know what you're doing, you can wreck your portfolio. But with our trading instructors, BK, Soto, and Mitchell, you'll learn how to day trade the futures market. Streaming daily, 9 to 11 a.m. Free. This is a free trading education channel. The Titan Futures 1 point a day challenge, where everybody is welcome. Get in the chat, ask us questions, learn. And now your instructors. This is BK, Soto, and Mitchell.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's Friday, October 4th. Let me kind of bring this down real quick. But yeah, welcome. It's Friday, October 4th. Glad you're here this morning. Sure do appreciate that. Well, if Soto will stop dinging my phone here, we'll kind of get going here. So just 1 second. But hey, take the time to check out this disclaimer here. Just remember, everything we do here is for educational purposes, okay? So any trades we take are definitely hypothetical and are not a trade recommendation in any way, shape, or form. So please, if you decide to take any trades based on our live stream this morning, just take full responsibility for those, and it's not by any way, shape, or form a recommendation, okay? So everything here is for educational purposes. All right, so please remember that. So we'll kind of get through that, and there's more. You can read this full disclosure disclaimers in the link below in the description. So we'll kind of get that off the screen here and pull us a chart. But again, if you're just joining us, sure do appreciate that. Take the time to look in the description below, and you'll kind of learn a little bit more about who we are and what we do. But this is a channel that we want you to enjoy here and kind of learn the way we trade the market. There are many ways to trade the market, first off, so please understand that. There's not one right way or wrong way per se to trade the market. There's lots of different ways to trade the market and be successful at it. But the main thing is to be consistent at something. Get really good at doing one thing or two things, but be consistent with it, and then you can make money in the markets. Okay, guys? So take the time to read the description below. Sure do appreciate you being here and checking out this video and this live stream. Sure do appreciate that. So if you don't mind, like and subscribe. It would be great. But we can kind of get going here. But there's going to be 3 traders here. There's myself, BK, Soto, and Mitchell. We all kind of chime in and talk here and kind of keep the chat going. And we look for trades together, and we kind of discuss those prior to entry, usually. But we'll kind of discuss what we're doing and why we've made trades, and we'll kind of do this thing together. So if I can get somebody to stop dinging me, that'd be great here. And his name's Soto. He's dinging me like 6 times right here, and right in the middle of this opening. So sorry about that, guys. He just can't wait to talk, man. He just can't wait to talk. So he's got to ding it, because he's already been trading this morning, which is good. But all right. So we got. If you check out the chat. I've got videos I posted this morning of kind of the tools of the trade here. You can kind of click on those links there, and you can kind of watch the videos that we have on our channel, kind of go the first 4 tools that we use to trade. So check those out. But again, we sure do appreciate you being here. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get Soto in here so he'll stop dinging on my phone here. But Soto, you there? Mitchell, you there?
I'm here.
All right, Mitchell's there. We know Soto's here. So we'll kind of let him kind of get us going this morning, because I know he's already taken a few trades according to his 1,500 texts he sent me here. So we'll kind of see.
2 texts. If you don't check your text, it's going to keep ringing. You got to check it.
Well, I do it. No, I do that, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 texts, man, in the last minute and a half. 2 minutes.
All of which could be sent in one text.
I know it. I'm happy for you. I know you're excited, man. I know you're excited. You made some trades, it looks like. So let's go ahead and talk about those real quick. So tell me where you're at, Soto.
All right. Well, I'm in the trade right now. I'm trading 3 contracts. I entered at 29.20.5.
29.20.5. Okay.
Correct.
So you're shorting it. Okay. Well,
it's short.
All right. So you're shorting the trade out of that. So let's talk about that while you're doing that, because I have a zone drawn up there at 20 even. starting at 20 evening, which is a 1 hour supply zone. But you're trading it off the 1 hour or a 5 minute, or what are you trading?
No, it's and let me. We're not going to find the sun. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that. Where the sun is.
Oh, okay.
So
So
I
you're
think
gonna tell me
one
the
of the
trades you're in, but you're not gonna tell me why you got in them.
Yeah.
Killing me, man. All right. So you're short there at 20. All right.
All right. Well, I'm out of the trade. So like those three contracts at 2 points. All right. Let me look at this on there. Hold on.
That's all right. All right. Cool. Well, we definitely, just so you can kind of see what's obvious on my chart here, you'll see this big candle we had at 8:35. Soto, tell me why that is.
News.
Okay, what kind of news? Do you know?
No, but let me tell you what I did before it happened.
Traded.
I was, well, technically, it was before the news. At 8:30, I got picked up
Well, that was
at
the news at
2,900 point and a quarter, 2,900 and a quarter.
to go long.
I had to trade long.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool because it picked me up. I locked in my 1 point and 2 point, but it then came back and took me out on a quarter for the rest. But then it happened to break through the sun I had, and then it went long.
Right.
So it would have been cool if it didn't break it. Had it not taken me out, I would have been not so ride. But I did get my points, and I was, I guess, lucky it had a good bounce out of that area.
Okay.
Because
well,
it didn't.
The news trader.
yeah. So let's talk about this real quick. Why? This is one of the most important news economic reports you'll have every month here. And so it's because you're a trader, man. You're supposed to know that stuff. And
This is interest
I
rate.
thought we're like,
yeah, so this is no, they're either going to be at 8:30 or 10:30 usually. So the non-farm, this was the non-farm employment change and unemployment rate. There's actually three. Right, all at 8:30. There's the average hourly earnings, which is a red flag, the non-farm employment change, which is a red flag, and the unemployment rate, which is a red flag. Okay, so those all happened at 8:30 this morning. They were all positive. That's when you see the big boost, meaning that the unemployment rate is up, which is down, which is good. And then we had less people applying for unemployment as well, so it's down from 145 to 136. So it's all positive news, is what we're saying. That's where you saw this big, massive spike that right here, and you're probably going to see a pretty good up day. But one thing you'll learn if you've been around trading for quite a while, we don't know for sure what we're going to look at on news, so it's the reason we don't trade it. Most of us don't trade it anyway. But that's why you see these big spikes right here. And that's what it's about. But you never know, because yesterday we had total negative news and we ended up for the day. So what tends to happen there was we might have had some this news right here leaked early. That way we went ahead, and that's one reason we could have gone on up for the yesterday, even with such bad negative news. We took a run down pretty good, but then we finished up like 120 something points up for the day. So which is a big up day on negative news. So so you might have seen a little bit of that. So we don't know what's going to happen this morning, kind of what it comes down to. We had positive news. We don't know if that's continued to the upside or if that might have already been factored in a little bit from yesterday. So we've got to be careful what we're looking to do right here. We can't just trade based on the news bias. We got to look at what's going to happen and look for our areas of trade. So kind of got that out of the way there. That's the news. No real news the rest of the day for us that's anything of real importance. So we'll just have to kind of see how the market reacts to this at open. But it's very positive news. So that's why you see the big spike there, just so everybody's aware. Okay? All right. So again, so you kind of see on the chart here, you kind of see the tools of the trade. That's price action, volume, support and resistance, supply and demand, and order flow. And I've put the first 4 videos to those tools in the chat with links, so you can kind of check those out if you're interested in those. But again, welcome here. We sure do appreciate you guys being here. Ask any questions, make yourself known if you don't mind, and in the chat just say you're here, and sure do appreciate that. But
if you were looking to trade the 850 as a zone, would you front run that zone with all those rejection wicks it's throwing toward the downside? And I mean, is that a decent zone to front run?
Yeah, I think it's a decent zone to front run just because those two wicks right there side by side are pretty.
Yeah, I've got my blue line at 29.1450
on top there, so I wouldn't have a problem front running that.
The more I look at it, it's looking like I may front run. I know Soto's front running it if he's going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'll draw that up there because that's definitely one of our zones there. So we'll draw that up for a demand, a potential demand there. So we'll kind of watch that as volume kind of comes down into that. If it makes sure it continues to decrease, and we'll have this demand zone here. So we'll definitely watch this pretty closely because we are getting some rejection wicks on the candles, which is good. So they're kind of biting into each other. Front running is definitely an opportunity there. I'll probably go, let's see here, let me take a look at it because volume's down, so it's definitely something we want to look at right here. So let's see here.
Sorry for interrupting you. I just
no, you're fine.
I
appreciate it. Yeah, let's do this talking.
Order pending.
So I'll go ahead and put one right at 1575 and see we'll kind of watch it and let it. Hopefully, it one ticks us and takes us, and so we'll kind of watch that for the day. But kind of, if you're just joining us, let you know that Soto's already traded 3 times, I guess, and made some great points there. So we'll discuss his trades here in a second. Looks like Paul. Good morning, Paul. Looks like you made some points this morning at 7:45 on the 6:15 candle. Awesome. I like that. At 29:03.25. So nice job there, Paul. He's made his point. He was prior to news there, so good for him. So points being made everywhere this morning, so that's great. Well, I know Soto's got, I think you said, Soto, you had 3 trades, is that right, this morning? 3 so far? Or 2?
No, just 2.
Just 2 thus far. Okay, nice job. So, and again, that's very important for the channel, is for the fact that Mitchell and Soto's trades, the first trades of the day, are the ones we use to mark up the individual results on the spreadsheet. So that's very important that they do well on those. And it's good trades, high quality trades. And so we'll definitely identify those here in just 1 second, because since those are the ones we use for the individual stats and reports for the channel, the 1 point a day challenge, it's always based off of their first point. Either one of them, it could be either one of them take the trade, and whichever one, if they both win, great. If one of them wins, one of them loses, whoever takes the first trade of the day is the one we put on the we don't cherry pick we don't cherry pick only the winners there. It depends on who trades. So the first one wins, or the first one loses, the one we put on there. Okay.
But as a disclaimer, Soto starts trading at 2 a.m., so it's 1 a.m.
So it's usually Soto.
He doesn't sleep. He sleeps in the middle of the day. He's like a bat.
I honestly sleep between 4 and 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, I will say this real quick, and I've actually been thinking about doing this. If you've learned our method, and if you've done any kind of study and research on your own, testing the method and going through the charts, which I highly recommend you doing, going through and picking out zones and area to trade, you're gonna find very consistently you'll make a point very easily between the 7 and 8 o'clock hour Eastern time. And the reason is price is slower, but our setups are very nicely come into play there in the mornings. So about 7 a.m. to 8 o'clock, you'll usually have an opportunity to trade there and make a point. So I've actually even talked about starting the live stream earlier just to get that 1 point so everybody understands it, because it's an easy 1 point to get. Volume's not pushing hard. It's going nice and slow, and when our setup's there, it's a very high probability that they work. It's between 7 and 8 o'clock. They get that 1 point without a lot of volume pushing, so it's something to look at, study, and we might end up doing something about that. I'm just not sure yet if I want to get up and run the live chat that early. But you'll find that that's a very good time if you've done any kind of testing and research like you should be doing, and testing the method on your downtime or when you're out of trade. You're going to find out that that's a very high probability time frame to get your 1 point. Okay, so you can mark up supply and demand real quick and easy, and price usually respects it very highly into those time frames. So anyway, that was just a slide note there. So I know Soto might get a couple points during that time frame, or I don't know if you trade during that time frame or not, Soto, if you're up that early or you're doing it kind of later at 8:30.
No, like today. Yeah, no, today, like, I get up and I usually get everything running around 7:20. But I may be making my oatmeal like this morning. But I saw the trade opportunity. I had the zone, but the price I didn't think was going to get there right away. So I put a trade in, and next thing I know, I was attacked by the news. But it triggered me in. And I quickly got a point, 2 points, locked the ticket, and it took me out. And then that's when it took off. So, I think, I had a good zone. So, it was a good area. But maybe a little luck on my side that it didn't happen to just blow by the zone first. It didn't respect the zone. So, but anyways.
All right. Mitchell, by the way, I wasn't paying attention to this until just now, but we actually had the better zone. It was a hidden zone that the price is respecting right now, so it never got into our other hidden zone. We had a hidden zone drawn back that it's respecting at 120 this morning. That's where it's been. If you can look at my chart, that's where it's respecting and actually bouncing out of. So I took my order off.
I've taken mine off as well.
So we just didn't pay attention to that, or I didn't pay attention to that. I should have not looked for that, but I didn't. So no big deal. But we'll be patient and wait for another opportunity here. So we'll kind of watch it and see.
Yeah, I'm on my backup computer, so I do not have hardly anything drawn. I've got one screen, so y'all just have to. I'm running a little cripple today.
Yeah,
in more ways than one.
No worries.
So y'all may have to help me out on zones that are past zones. I'm good with zones that are made since I've signed on today, but other than that, I have nothing.
Okay, yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, no worries. We'll watch it and see.
So right now it's bouncing off the zone that I have that's from 1900 to 21 and a quarter. That's the zone I have, and so far expecting it pretty good. I've made, like I said, I've made my trade at the 9 o'clock hour, 9 o'clock candle. But when the price came, it respected it right to the dot, and it's still bouncing off that area. So.
Okay. Good. Yeah, it's definitely bouncing there. That's an hourly supply area as well. We've already, from an hourly standpoint, we've already kind of entered into this zone right here. I would only look for potential shorts above 21.25 at this point, since it's kind of a second entry into this hourly time zone, knowing that it could absolutely, like sort of say, it could bounce here for sure, which it's doing. But from an order flow standpoint, I'd rather get above 75 and a quarter if it's going to do that before I look to take a short trade. If I'm looking to take a short trade. Okay, so all right, so we're just going to watch all that and kind of keep our eyes open and kind of watching. But definitely some good points made this morning. So nice job thus far. We got roughly 13 minutes to the open or so. So we'll just kind of keep talking and kind of relax and keep looking. And like I said, you got that big spike from the news this morning. So we had very positive news for the economy this morning. So we'll just have to see if the uptrend continues, this momentum to the upside continues because of that, or if some of that might have been factored in from yesterday already. It might have been some leaks going on, which happens quite often if you've been trading for any amount of time and you kind of learn news. You'll realize that sometimes certain people get a hold of things a little bit before everybody else. So because all the negative news we had yesterday, we finished on a very high positive day. So I don't know if that might have been because of the fact that this report might have been leaked a little bit early to some other people, and they drove the market higher based on it. But we still got a good move this morning to the upside. based on the news. So we'll kind of see how the market reacts when it opens. I imagine it will continue to go higher for a little while anyways, from all the retail traders getting their opportunities to jump in. I imagine it'll go a little bit higher because of that, but we'll have to see how the overall direction goes for the day. Okay, so we'll look for that and just kind of study that and be patient for that. That's one thing we will definitely want to do, is be patient here. All we're looking for the actual channel challenge is 1 point. Okay, so and that 1 point will change your world one day when the contracts are added into that, and so it's very important to get that 1 point. People, that's one thing I hope to prove here on the channel to people, is the power of the point. It's kind of how I like to say it. It's 1 point. People are used to watching on YouTube people trading small caps and things like that, where they're jumping and making at the market open on the stock market. They're making good penny moves and 50-cent moves and 75-cent moves, and it's adding up to a lot of, because they're trading a lot of volume on the contracts. And that's all great. I love that. That's really cool. I used to do a lot of that, so it's very good. But I've come to love futures for the last 10 years and understand what they can do for you tax-wise, and understand that it's not as manipulative. I guess you could say. They're very easily to do that in the stock market, and I just don't like dealing with all the earnings reports and things like that. I'd rather have a little more solid of a contract to trade. So that's the reason we kind of brought the 1 point a day challenge here. People might say it's just not enough, 1 point, or that's too easy to get. You're not going to do anything with 1 point. Well, I think that's because they don't understand the power of 1 point. Especially in the ES market. So
it works for credit card companies.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
Compounding.
That's all compounding. Yeah, but you talk about on the ES market. See, guys, the ES market is the largest market in the world besides the Forex market, right? So this is where all the big boys really do play. They have their bigger money here. It's stable. It's not as, like I said, easy to manipulate. And the big market, the big money moves here. Okay, so if you can learn to make your living off the ES market, and at 1 point a day, you'll find that it will definitely change your life once you give it time to compound. Because it's not a get rich quick overnight, man. It's just not that way. Unless you're going to start with 100 contracts or 1,000 contracts, then great. Then that means you've got the account to support that. And you're already rich, to be quite honest. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about learning to start this thing small and understand within a very, very short period of time, you will make the money that will change your life just off of learning to master this 1 point. And right now it's only worth $50, so you just think, I can't do that. That's just not enough to live on, or whatever. Or that's just not enough to grow my account. Well, I'm just asking you to be patient and understand that, yeah, this thing, if you just gave it a year, I think you're going to just be shocked at what that 1 point's come out to. I don't think you understand what a compounding interest on 1 point a day just for a year will do. And even if you just did it 3 points a week, and that's kind of what we try to net here, is 3 points a week. Now, because 1 point a day is hard, because it doesn't sound like it would be hard, but it's hard to make 1 point a day consistently. It's hard. So because of the market can move against you, even though when you have a high probability setup, the market could definitely go against you, and you lose the point, and you got to be okay with that. So our ultimate goal here is to average 3 points a week here. But we call it a 1 point a day challenge, but we want to average 3 points a week here. And I think, I know for a fact that if you'll give that time to compound, it will change your life, and you'll find that 1 point is pretty awesome, I guess you could say, and it can happen very quickly, and you can have a very short work day, once you learn to do that. And once that 1 point becomes, the value of that 1 point becomes a point to where you're happy, then you'll find that your work days become short. So where that same point today, that 1 point today is worth $50, when that 1 point becomes worth $5,000, you might just say, I made my point for the day. No reason to hang around and try to make more. I got other things to do. And because you've made your $5,000 today, And people might think, well, most people don't make $5,000 a day. 99.99% of the people in the world don't make $5,000 a day. So if you can hang on and learn to master this point, you will do that if you manage your money properly. You will absolutely have the opportunity to do that, and plus a lot more than that. But no. And one thing I guess I should do is one day is make a video for the channel so people can understand what that 1 point compounding turns into, and what it turns into, and how quickly it turns into something. That way, because people, if you don't have that ability to do that right now, you won't believe that it's real. So one thing I like to say here is math. You can't argue math, compounding interest. You can't argue that. It is 100% fact. It is true. The only thing you can argue with me on this method is, can you make 1 point a day? That's the only thing you can argue. You can't argue the math. The math is the math. It's 100% true.
What is like 163 consecutive points is $1 million?
Yes. So, yep. And so even if you took that at perfect 100, which, let's be realistic, you're not going to make 100.
That's not going to happen, but I'm just saying, like, that's how many points it takes to make $1 million.
Like, by compounding. That's right, starting at one contract. And people don't understand that, and they think that's impossible, but it's not. But the reality is, we know you're not going to make 163 straight points. Can it be done? Sure. But it's likely to be done now. So, but we're talking about, what if you just do 3 points at a time? You're still going to hit that $1 million mark within a year, so in compounding. So that's what you got to look at. But I'll make a video on that, because you can't argue the math, and that's the whole thing. The only thing you can argue to me is whether or not you can make that 1 point, because as anybody can see, the market itself moves more than 1 point a day. Okay, the average ES market, even during the slow times of the year of the ES market, the average move is 20 points. So you have days where the range, I guess you say, anywhere from even on very, very slow months of the year, I get I have to go back and look at it, but the low average is about 10-point range. Okay, during the day, but all the way up to 100-point range. So the issue is, you cannot tell me on that. You still can't tell me that the market doesn't move more than a point in any given direction at any given time to make that point. So that's the kind of thing I would have to argue, or I have to prove. Well, you can prove that. You can see that in the ES market itself. So just go back and do your own research, and see that the market does move more than 1 point a day. Okay, and at that point, you can't. Only thing you can argue with me is, can you consistently make 1 point? That's the only thing you can argue with me about. You can't argue with the math. And I'm not saying that being cocky either. I'm saying that's just the math of it. And people don't think in those small terms. You got to think small to win big. It's a saying I like very well. So think small, learn to make this 1 point, then let your contracts grow, and you will see that. So origin code. Hey, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. First off, it says, I would like to see the math on that 1 point a day, $1 million. Absolutely. And I'll do a video on that. Since you've requested that, we'll go ahead and make a video of that and put it in the channel. And then I'll start putting it in the chat, and so people can see that, because I think people need to realize that it's possible. Math says it's possible. And if math says it's possible, then that means there's a way to do it. And it has to come down with learning to master that entry and on 1 point, So, and that's what we do here. We try to master that 1 point. And I think, as you can see, as you can see our spreadsheet at the end of every day, you'll see that we're doing a pretty good job at getting that 1 point every day. I think we're on a 12 or 13 day win streak right now, making that first point every single day.
I think that's too probably what has people somewhat like confused about, well, when is it, how is it going to go? $1 million and 160 points. Well, the deal is it takes the longest to get from $1,000 trading one contract to trading two contracts. You've got to make, that's what, 20 points to get to 2,000, and then another 10 to get to 3 contracts. But once you get to 3 contracts, you're trading 3 contracts, it starts rolling pretty quick. So coming out of the gate, it's slow. I mean, it definitely is. But once that once you start trading multiple contracts and that compounding starts getting a little bit more aggressive, it gets crazy fast.
Yeah, it does. And
it takes longer to get from $1,000 to $3,000 than it takes to get from $250,000 to $1 million.
Absolutely correct. Yep, absolutely correct. Because you start jumping contracts so fast. And Soto's actually a great example of that. 30 days ago, he started with a $1,000 account. Now, he's been more aggressive, trading more often during the day, but we've taken his 1 point. But the point what I want to make with him is the fact that he's up to 20-something contracts now, and he's jumping contracts every day, which is cool, but that's not how we were going to show you to do it here. But it's the 1 point. But the point is it jumps contracts, like Mitchell said. So real quick here, the market's just open, so it's 9:30. We're 30 seconds into the open. We're a little sideways here, so we'll kind of watch it. We're kind of bouncing in between zones. So we're going to be patient here and watch this for a few minutes to make a direction one way or the other. I still have the drawn zone, or the zone drawn at 8:45 this morning. It's a hidden zone, so it's a demand zone we have drawn up. So what we'll do is kind of wait to see if price wants to get into that before we take a long trade here. But it could absolutely at any given time take off, and go long, which we're seeing happen right here. Yeah, there it is. That's the market open. We're not going to trade that just because it's so volatile and we don't know what's going to happen. We're going to be patient and wait for our opportunities, because they will present themselves over and over and over. So based on a high probability trade. So we want to hold on just a little bit, let this initial knee-jerk reaction happen, and in this first 5 minutes here of the market, and then we'll let price come back into our areas that we identify prior to the entries. So and at that point we'll look to trade out of those. So right now we have another zone that's been created. Okay, we have a hit right at 9:30. We have another hidden zone. It's a demand zone, so we'll kind of mark that up and check that out. Just so we'll have that drawn ahead of time. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to trade out of this zone. We have to wait till price tells us to trade out of these areas, but we mark these up ahead of time. Okay, so we don't do things after the fact here. We'll mark up potential entry positions prior to. Okay, so let me take a quick look here on the hourly chart, since that's where I have this big red zone drawn. It's a supply zone on the hourly chart, so we'll take a look here and see what we got going on. So we're definitely pushing the supply in this hourly chart here. As you can see on my chart now, on my screen now, that's an hourly time frame, and you can see where I've drawn this supply zone that we see right here, this red zone. I'll draw a little arrowed line. That's what was drawn that from. It's going to hang out right now. It's kind of respecting that area, but I don't see a great opportunity to trade right there in that zone, a really good, clear, defined area. It would have been 2.25, probably 25.25 if I was going to do that, but I'm not going to do that at this point, obviously. So I'm going to hold on a little bit. Like I said, it's a knee-jerk reaction, but we see the top of this zone here. Then our next zone we have available to the short side. If we look to short, it will not be up here till 42.25. But so anyway, that's kind of the bigger time frame, the hourly time frame. So let's kind of move back down to the 5-minute chart and wait for us an opportunity if it presents itself. We do expect it to be long just because of the good news this morning. But again, we're going to wait and see what happens here. Okay.
I just came to starting at 20.75 to 7.
You broke up on me there, Soto. You're going to have to say that again, buddy.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I hear you.
5.75 to 27.75.
You sound like you're doing yoga or something, man.
No, the thing is, T-Mobile was having a problem. They have Comcast having a.
I told you that's called T-Maybe.
T-Maybe.
Maybe, that's right.
All right. Well, I think you said something about a short zone up there, but I couldn't. It broke up. Too bad. Couldn't hear it. So if I can't hear it, I'm sure no one else can hear it. So, so we'll just hold off there. I don't know what we're talking about. So we'll just be patient here. A lot of resistance that's been broken in this area right here. You can look at my chart, kind of circling it here. There's a lot of resistance been broken right here. So let me kind of put a big circle around all that. So with all that resistance being broken, we look forward to just basic fundamentals. We look forward to become support now if price wants to continue to the long side. So we'll look for opportunities to out of there for a long trade. So we'll just kind of be patient and wait and let price come back to us. Okay. That's one thing to be very successful in trading is to be patient, not chase trades. We don't do that. And you'll find most successful traders do not do that as well. So they let price come to them and get in on their terms, and you're willing to take a trade on those terms, knowing what the risks are, and you're willing to lose if you decide if the price doesn't go your way, then that's okay because you've already defined your risk. Okay. One thing we don't do, we don't ever expand our stops here. We have a 1 point stop, guys. That's it. 1 point stop, 4 ticks. And it's very tight, but it's makes you concentrate on your entries better and more. And once you get good at doing that, and you have a 1 point stop, then your account grows pretty well because you're not having to dig out of such a deep hole with the wide stops. And a lot of people expand stops, but we do not do that. If we get in a trade, well, we're committed to that trade, right or wrong, and because we don't trade that's the reason we have to make sure we're getting into the right trades. Okay. Sometimes we don't. I mean, that's part of the game. We're not perfect. We lose. We definitely lose. But you'll see. I think based on our method, as long as all of our tools kind of line up, trades. We might be off a tick or two, and that could get us sometimes. But I think you'll find a lot of times that we're pretty accurate in our entries, and we're not going for big long moves. We have trailing stops that we'll let it run a little bit and get a little bit more out of it, but we definitely keep that 1 point stop in play. So excuse me for that. But so yeah, please if you have any kind of questions, please ask, and then because we want you to understand what we're doing here, but also I've also put the excuse me, goodness. I've also put the videos of the tools into the chat there, so you can kind of watch those when you have some time and kind of learn a little bit more about those in detail. I mean, it's very simple concepts. Again, we keep things simple here. So we just use the fundamentals of the market, and because the fundamentals will always remain, they've always been, and they always will be as long as there's a market. And so we want to get good at understanding those fundamentals and how to trade those fundamentals. Okay, so that's why we don't add other things to the chart that kind of use analysis. We don't add additional indicators. We don't use oscillators. We don't use RSIs, stochastics, MACDs, all that kind of stuff. We don't do Bollinger Band. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. We don't do averages here even. So we just don't do that for the fact that it's just too much to look at, and most of it, 99% of it's all reactionary anyway, delayed. We like real-time analysis and real-time action. That way we could be on the trade early and at the right times. So you just have to get really good at learning the personality of the market, which doesn't take long to do that. You just have to dedicate some time to that. But this is the market to learn if you're going to learn anything in the futures market. Because if you can learn it here, you can learn it in any of the other markets. Because NASDAQ works great and moves pretty hand in hand with the ES, and it's a little bit cheaper to trade. So that's also a really good thing to do and learn to trade. But once you learn this area, once you learn this, then you can definitely trade any market out there, because this method does work for any market if you want to learn this method. Placid Mind. All right. Sorry guys, changed my name. This is Alan. Hey Alan, good to see you. Took you short of time frame zone, 1 minute chart. Long. Took half, 1 point at a quarter, and 2 points at last. Nice, very good job, man. So we'll mark that up here in just a second. and then we'll kind of go over that with you and kind of take a look at it and see what you did there. But nice to have you back, man. I was wondering where you were at. So I like you got a lot of experience and a lot of good things to offer to the room. So I like to hear your thought processes and kind of what you're looking at. So thanks again for coming back. And Placid Mind is your new name, your new call name. So that's cool. All right. So thanks again, man, for being back. But we'll take a look at what you're talking about here in a minute, because you said it took a shorter time frame zone 1 minute chart, 912 candle long, 29.17 and a half, and then on the 920 candle took half a point, took half at 1 point, okay, and a quarter point at 2 points, and lasted, of course. Nice, yeah. So three exits out. Very nice, man. Very nice. We'll check that out here in a few minutes. So awesome. So anyway, guys, I can tend to ramble a little bit, and it's been pointed out before that I sound like I smoke a pack a day, but trust me, I do not. I think I've had one drag of a cigarette my entire life, and I just don't like it, so I've never done it. Since then, I do smoke about one cigar a year, but that's it. I guess this is the most I ever talk, I guess you could say, during my day. I don't talk a whole lot, and so maybe morning's tough for me, but bear with me there. I know sometimes I can tend to mumble as well, so bear with me. I'm just like you guys. I'm nobody special by any means. Not a professional speaker by any means, so just one of the guys, man. So hang with us, but ask any questions you got. So, all right, had a 38% fib, bull flag, 1 minute buy zone. Okay, nice. Alan's big on fibs, and which are great. I have no problem with fibs. I think they're very valuable, definitely for a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of standpoint. So many people use them, and they often get good respect out of those areas. So we like it when Alan talks about his fibs and where those are at, and sometimes I'll draw those up on the chart here, and I might do that. But I just want to be patient here because we might get an opportunity to go long here pretty soon. So I kind of want to keep this chart going right here. But we'll probably draw up Alan's situation here in just a few minutes. But let's just be patient here because we might have opportunity to the long side. So we're going to kind of talk through it. Volume's decreasing, which is a big thing, right? So we got to watch that. I didn't mean to do that. So let me kind of draw that line here just so we can kind of get an idea of volume. Even though it's green, it's decreasing, so we kind of watch that there. We actually put in a pivot candle now to the high with a good rejection wick. Coming back into an area of very strong, was resistance, but now becomes support. So we kind of want to look for an opportunity to trade out of that based on our price action and volume and support and resistance in our supply and demand area. So let me ask you, Mitchell Soto, what are y'all looking to have any kind of zone here to the long side?
Yes, I'm looking at a potential trade at 1975.
Yep, that's where the top of that zone's at that I have drawn on the chart. That's at 1975.
And then I've got a little more conservative at 1925. And then if I want to go crazy conservative of 1850.
All right.
So I'm just kind of watching to see what price action looks like. But 1975 is my 1975 to 1950 is kind of my go-to right now.
That's kind of your go-to where you'll be willing to take a long trade and risk that 1 point. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like all that. I don't know. I think there's a lot of old resistance that's going to become support to get through to that part of the zone right away. That's one thing you have to watch and just be comfortable with that. If we're willing to miss an opportunity because it might trade out of that, it might bounce out of that. We don't know yet. We just kind of have to watch and see. But I would probably tend to maybe front run that personally around 20 and just see if it and be willing to take my 1 point stop if it goes deeper into the zone.
So where would your zone be? Where's your actual zone at?
My zone is actually at where you said it is. It's on the 930 candle. So that's actually the zone. Okay, but to the left of that,
we just have some front run it a few ticks.
Yeah, I might front run it 1 tick, because the top of the zone's at 1975.
Right.
So I might run it at 20 even, just because of all the
There's a
lot of support right there.
Yeah.
There was rejection that's broke through. I mean, you got 3 different areas at 20, 20 and a half, and 21, 25 of all areas of past rejection, resistance that are all support now. So I might be willing to front run it to 20 even, just to see if, and because it might bounce right at 75 even and not get me in, and that's what I don't want to. So I'm willing at this point, because of all that, I will be willing to take a trade at 20 even. So, and then if it one ticks me in, great, and if it doesn't get that far down, I'm okay with that too. Or if it decides to go in and go deeper than my 1 point, then I'm all right with that. So I got to be willing to lose the 1 point and be okay with that, knowing that I like the entry. So I've got enough support of reasons why I feel like that's a strong trade at 20, and because I got a zone 1 tick below that. I got a lot of resistance to the left side of that that has now become support potentially, and volume's decreasing. As long as volume stays down, I'm okay with taking this trade at 20 even. So we'll just kind of wait and see. Give it a few minutes to get there. Not chasing it too much, but we'll give it a few minutes to get there.
What you thinking, Soda?
Soda's already traded 4 times since we've been
talking. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, guys, I already took 4 trades.
This sickness has really gotten you down, man. You have not been talking a lot.
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Yeah,
you're a lot better now.
Okay.
I
agree with you guys. But I'm kind of being patient just because there's a lot of traffic down here. Like BK said, it can bounce. There's a lot of places where it can bounce off, but it could also go deeper if it wants to. So I'm just going to be watching it carefully.
Yep, excellent. We're always willing to. As soon as we put a trade on, we got to become. As soon as we're in a trade, we become sellers immediately, right? So that's one thing we got to watch. So as soon as we buy, as soon as we go long, we got to be an immediate seller to go short. So because we're looking to get out. So and the opposite is true, but in this situation, like you said, there's a lot going on here. So we're just gonna be patient and see. We know we're going to get some bounces out of that area without a doubt. We're going to get some bounces out of that area. It's just a matter of, because we have a 1 point stop, guys, we got to be very precise with our entries, okay, because we only got 4 ticks to play with. So we really need to be confident on our entry and be okay with whatever the results are there. But we're going to wait for it to get down into that area for sure.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they'll break this area they're in now. Like I said, I have a zone from 25.75 to 27.75, and it's been hanging out in this area still, bouncing off that area. Except the 940 candle just went 1 tick outside the area. But besides that, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches right there. Strong touches there.
Yeah, rejection.
Yeah. So I'm really kind of waiting for them to break this area out of here, because we're otherwise we'll be on sideways market, because they're bouncing off between that, and I have another area from 21.25 to 19 flat, which I know you guys are using the 930 candle, which is the newer zone, so that's probably the better one to use. But there's a lot of things that need to break through to get down there. So volume has to get down there. So I'm just kind of hesitant because I think there's also a zone at 915 that I can go to, so it just kind of depends. So
Yep.
Kind of messy for me right now. That's my fear. It's just a little too messy.
Yeah, I understand that. No problem. That's the reason we'll make sure all tools line up before we make the trade. We don't just take a trade off of one of the tools, right? We make sure things line up. Volume, support and resistance. So right now, let's just talk through our zones. Volume's decreasing, so check one, right? We got price action. We got to watch that. We get a lot of rejection wicks to the upside, which could tell us we're going to be moving to the downside. So we got price action. We got to watch candles in the body sticks. The bodies, and kind of watch those coming into an area of trade. And then here at support and resistance, we have a lot of support and resistance right here in this area, in the sideways action. So that's a check, right? We got a lot of resistance here. that's been broken, that we now look for it to hold us support some way, shape, or form. So we'll look at that. And then we have our supply and demand zone that's been set up here. We have a demand zone at 930 that's we feel has not been triggered. That's going to be strong, and it's right below an area of was old resistance, but now a support. So we figure that because price will get in there, whether we get in the right location or not, that's always the challenge, but we know it's going to bounce out of here for a temporary spot. If it gets down here, it's going to bounce. We just need to figure out, okay, where's our best solution to get in, where's our best opportunity price rise to get in, and then what is volume and the candlesticks telling us where's the right price to get in. So you can see, as if you're going to go through the checklist down there at the tools of the trade, you can kind of see all those areas are lining up, all that's coming into play right here, and that's just the fundamentals of the market, right? So we'll look to potentially to address those one more time prior to getting in a trade, but we always want to know ahead of time what's it looking like. If we have an area of potential trade, does it have all these tools that are going to be involved here? Do we have to address all these, and are they all going to give us a check mark to go? You know, and so we want to know these areas ahead of time. We don't do things after the fact here. That's one thing we just don't do. We do everything in real time here. So we have to talk ahead of the market. Okay, we have to present scenarios ahead of time to say, okay, if this were to happen, then this is what we would do. Okay, you're talking forward, you're thinking forward, because you want to be in a opportunity to react if price gets into this area. Okay, so that's kind of how we do things here, and that's how I think is a great way to look at the market. When you look ahead of time, you don't react. Okay, so let's kind of keep watching here and just decide what we're looking at. So we got definitely some price moving down here, volume staying low, which is good. We like it. Just need to look to see as price wants to make its way down. It's 955, or excuse me, it's 951. So we're watching the 955 candle form right now. We got 3 minutes left into this, so we'll kind of continue to watch it. But also remembering, guys, just from the fundamentals of the market, you know, around 10 o'clock time frame, 9:45 to 10:15ish, usually, big boys will step in, and you kind of set a direction for the day. You know, it is Friday. Remember that. So big boys are probably going to trade in the morning here and head out, you know, to the Hamptons for the weekend and things like that. So we got to be aware of that as well. But you tend to, on a daily basis, we tend to start looking for a little bit more of a market direction, especially if a trade's kind of coming into an area of potential opportunity. We got to look at that time and realize, okay, if it's around 10 o'clock time frame, this could be a good move that we're looking for. You know, it could be a move we hold, you know, for a runner as well. So there's things like that. You got to be thinking of the overall context of the market and what's really going on in the big time frame, how the big boys are thinking, how the big boys move, because they're the ones that move the market that we want to be on their side. Okay, so anyway, great. So that's kind of what we're doing, just hanging out, waiting for this area to kind of be triggered one way or the other, and being patient and watching that. But again, thank you for being here. If it's your first time here, sure do appreciate it very much. Thank you. If you got any questions, please ask. Please take a few minutes to subscribe to the channel and kind of hit that bell icon, as they say. That way you're notified every morning when we got to go live, and when we throw some more videos on the channel, you'll be aware of those. But just thank you for being here. Sure do appreciate it. All right. All right. So yeah, definitely just sideways right now. So just hanging out, just waiting for something to happen, being patient, but just waiting for some opportunity to present itself. All right.
So PK?
Yeah.
You know what I love about trading?
What's that?
You know what I love about trading?
What's that?
Is that I would have been done already by before 8 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, you'd have been done before the market ever opened. Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about it. I'm telling you, that's the beautiful thing about that one point. Once you accept the concept that you can make a phenomenal living on 1 point a day, when your contracts have increased, I think you're going to love the fact, you're going to buy in the fact that when you put a trade in, you're out usually within a minute or less, and your day's done, so it's just what it is, man, because that's the reason. There's a lot of benefits to making that 1 point, man. There's a ton of benefits to it, and it's just, you know, making it's just accepting the fact that it can be done, and it can be very lucrative, that 1 point. But so yeah, Soto would have been done prior to 8 o'clock this morning had he been just trading the 1 point and being done, But we're part of it. We're doing this 2 hour. We've committed to this 2 hour live stream. So there's many times where I've already made points prior to the live stream itself, and would never even have been here. But committed to do this for the fact that I want people to learn this method because it's simple, it's basic. And we're not charging money to get you into some kind of course. We're not doing that. This is something you can learn because it can change your life. And then Soto and Mitchell are both doing that. They've become very successful at trading this, so they're kind of like guinea pigs, I guess you could say, and for everybody to see. And but yeah, you could definitely learn to trade this method and be done before market ever even opens. And as far as the New York market, the futures market's already open. It's open 23 and a half hours a day, but so 5 days a week. But as far as coming into the day, each day, you could be done very, very quickly and be on your way and go do what you like to do, whatever your hobby is, or go to work or whatever you want to do. So it presents itself a nice life if you take the time to put in the work early. It's a process, everything's a process, and you put your work in early, man, and pay your dues. Just pay your dues for a year. You tell me where you can go in a year, and even go to college. You go to college for 4 years just for a basic bachelor's degree, right? And you go for 4 years and you come out and you can't do what this has got the potential to do for you. You're not going to do that. So just give it a little time. That's all. We're not even talking 4 years either. So we're talking months to a year if you just let it compound and don't mess with it and take it serious and treat it as a job, as a business, and then you'll find out that not too long down the road it'll give you everything you need, so everything you need. So because as long as the market's around, you got a recession-proof job. That's what's cool about it as well. Once you learn this skill and master this skill, you have a recession-proof job. So because as long as the market's going to be in play, these same principles and fundamentals will always be. So that's the cool thing, don't have to worry about it. If the market's not around anymore, we got bigger things to worry about. So no reason to stress about that potential. So anyway, yeah, so we're just hanging, guys. So sorry about that. You heard me ramble a little bit. So we're just hanging. I like to play music, but I'm not playing it right now. But I don't know if everybody can hear it, but I like to play some music, kind of at least passes the time a little bit on my end, but not doing it right now because of copyright stuff. Got to get some of that stuff worked out. But anyway, the boys are quiet today. Mitchell's not feeling well. He's under the weather. He's kind of trading from his bed.
I'm trading from my bed with cough drops in my mouth. I've had to mute it a lot because I'm constantly crunching and chewing and drinking.
Appreciate
I don't want to sound like Soto. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, just for the record, that happened one time, and I was eating an apple. Sorry for being healthy.
The loudest fruit to eat.
Right, you're just crunching it, baby. All right, we're pushing through this area of resistance right here. So looks like we're getting some action to the long side here. So we'll kind of watch here. So we'll look for potentials of new area depending on what this candle does here. So let's just be patient and watch. Yeah, we'll just be patient and watch here. We're getting some direction. So we'll see how committed it wants to get here. If it commits to the next candle or two to the long side, then we definitely have another opportunity to go higher up in this zone to trade to the long side. So we'll just be patient, wait for it and see. But we need to get some direction. We don't want to. This could definitely be one of these fake breakout type of things for because whether you believe it or not, the market's all about grabbing stops and got to be careful to watch that kind of stuff. Okay. So let us show some real commitment to the upside. If it wants to go, let it prove to us that it wants to go long here. DeSoto, remind me if you don't care about that, doing that video of the 1 point a day in the spreadsheet and how quick it can turn into $1 million at one point. Remind me of that at the end of the day.
I will. I'll send you several text messages to remind me.
Yeah, I bet you will. We'll just wait until we're done. Because I'll do that over the weekend so we can post that so people can see. Because Soto has already programmed the spreadsheet, taking out commissions, taxes, and everything. I'm going to use that spreadsheet he created, and we'll kind of grow it and show it how it can be done. All right, so now we got some commitment to the upside. I like this. Okay, we've got candles closing above that resistance there. So now let's look to see it can actually become support, to the upside. So let's kind of go back and see here and see what potentials we have. I mean, it definitely, if you look at my chart here, I've kind of squinched it in, I guess. I don't know how to say that, but I've kind of moved it together, tightened it up. You'll see that, and you can see we had some good resistance there that's been broken. So I would expect at this point for this to become a potential area of opportunity for support to the long side now that it's committed. It looks like it might be committed, okay? So you guys agree with that?
What's that now, the 9?
This potential, because we've got a zone up there that's got an area that could be support. So I think we got it. Let me draw this out real quick. I'm just kind of talking out loud, but let me draw this out. So that's another area I've just drawn from 27.75 up to 29.50. That could be the area we use as a support area to bounce. So let's kind of go back into our zone here. Yep, and that can be confirmed right here. So we'll kind of look for that area for a potential long trade now. Our most immediate opportunity. So we'll kind of watch that and see if we can get a little bit more action out of here. Excuse me. And if you're kind of new to our method here, you might be saying we're missing a lot of opportunity to the long side here. You're missing trades and things like that. Well, based on our method, we're not missing trades. We're not going to chase price and scared of it running away from us, because prices will always come back to areas of support and resistance for opportunities to trade out, and we like to take a higher probability trade out of that. So we'll wait for that. We're not going to chase price when it starts to take off. We don't do that. There's a lot of methods out there that do that, and we just don't. Okay. So we're just going to hang out. We're not worried about price running right here. We'll let it kind of get some. I mean, all it's doing right here to me is proving that it wants to be long. Okay, that's all it's doing to me. So I'm not saying this thing's going to run off and leave me. I don't feel that right now. I've got a good area that is kind of driving out of. I think it will return to that area for an opportunity to bounce out of it. And that's all we're looking for, is a good bounce, high probability bounce, because we're getting that 1 point, right? So, so no reason to get in the panic mode, or that FOMO they call FOMO, which is fear of missing out. That's what that means, and we don't have that, and there's no need to have that, because price will always come back to areas of support and resistance, supply and demand, and will give us opportunities to trade. So just be patient, okay? Just be patient. All right. Okay, so Alan said, after watching your videos for a few days, I think it would be more helpful if you show examples of the trades that you guys are taking. Okay, let me see, how do I do that? What are you referring to exactly?
maybe he's saying like recording in real time, or record while you're taking a real trade, and then clip that and put it into the video, then explaining how you created the zone and the price comes to you in real time. Okay. I don't know if you can do that, but
yeah,
I think that's
what that. I mean, I can definitely do that. I mean, that's what we do here now. It's just, unfortunately, it's over a 2-hour window, so if that's what Alan, if that's what you refer to, I can definitely edit that and do some of that for sure. I can definitely do that because I read one thing you'll find out on my charts here. All my trades are recorded, meaning that I even have markers, price markers, where I took a trade, win or lose. You're going to see the price markers happen. So I produce price markers so you can see that they're real and they're a win or a loss. And you can see the contracts traded, which I only trade 2 contracts for this channel, so everybody can understand you can trade a very small account and do well. That will grow over time. I will let it grow over time once the spreadsheet gets some more traction, and once it goes to 2,000, then I'll kind of let it jump with me here at 2 contracts, and we'll grow those together with the spreadsheet. But yeah, Alan, I'll do that. I'll come up with a way of doing that to maybe have kind of a highlight reel, if you would say, of wins and losses, because I'm not going to just cherry pick wins. That's not what I do. And but I'll do wins and losses, and I'll maybe explain why I took that trade here, and it'll all be real time, so you'll be able to see it. I won't make anything up after the fact, but I can definitely explain it as it's happening on the chart, and why and where the zone was at, all that good stuff. I'll definitely do that. So thanks for that recommendation. Because I want this to be people to understand it. I want it to be easy, and I want it to be clear, and I can tend to mumble words a little bit, so so I can definitely do that for you. So thank you for making that suggestion. I'll get that done. Try to do that over the weekend, maybe like a little highlight reel of 8 to 10 trades or what have you in real time, showing them in real time as they happened, and kind of walking through that. Sure will. All right. And the origin code said, or start a Discord channel and everyone can share screen share. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. I just have to look at how to do that, because that means I would lose the live stream. Is that correct? On YouTube, just do it on Discord. I have to look into that more. I just want this to be something free that everybody can kind of get involved in and look. But yeah, I might end up doing that and checking that out, and seeing how we can bring that together, origin code. So we'll look into that for sure. Absolutely. All right, so let's kind of look at this in real time here. We got price retracing back into the potential area here. So let me ask you guys, do y'all have any trades setting up right here that you're comfortable with into this zone?
I don't have a trade yet, but I'm potentially looking at 28.25 to go long.
I'm looking at 27.50.
Yeah, 27.50. Okay, so you're definitely more conservative, which I like that. I know you're very conservative when it comes to trading, which is good because a lot of people out there are. So that's good, Mitchell. You're that way.
No, Mitchell. We're all proud of you, Mitchell. I'm not going to trade anymore, so.
You're the one making all the points, Soto.
Yeah, he's the one doing it all for the channel. So Soto, don't change anything you're doing, please. Because it's all, and that's what's cool, I think, is that we're all trading the same method, but we all have a different personality, so we see things just slightly different, which is what's great.
Well, I don't really have a zone right here, so I'm just like, I'm literally just trading off price. I'm looking at wicks and everything, just kind of eyeballing it.
Gotcha.
Order pending.
Well, I have a zone from 27.75 up to 29.75, so it's a 2-point zone. I will put an order into trade on the 25, on the 28.25 to bounce off of that support there. I will do that. Hopefully, one ticks in. Or let me drop that one more here to 25. Yeah, let me drop that to 25, and then hopefully it maybe one ticks, because it's kind of hard to confuse, kind of confusing right here. But you have this big red zone right here, right? That's an hourly time frame. Okay, it was supply, but can actually be flipped into demand at this point. So I would like it to bounce right here off of that, which it's doing. Okay, I'm just into this position right here, so everybody can see I'm into this position. Win or lose, I'm okay with whatever happens.
I'm in, boys.
If I lose, I lose. I don't have a problem with that. So, but this is why I'm into this zone. Let's kind of stretch it out. I feel like that's good support. There's a lot of wicks down here.
I made my point.
Good job making your point. Good. I haven't made my point yet. Hopefully I will. I'm 3 ticks in, but I need it to go 4 ticks plus a tick to kind of get me. But yeah, I'm in right now. So we'll see if it works out. Great. I mean, it's touching my pocket target right now, but I gotta go 5 ticks for it to get me. So
target filled.
All right, so now it didn't pull my other position in quick enough. I got my first point, but my trailing stop's still at one negative here, which I don't like. So it went right at 1 tick and didn't get me. So I got to move this manually. I'm gonna wait for it to get the tick in here. Let me open this up because it's kind of hard for people to see it right here. With all that's going on, so it didn't go. It should have 1 ticked me into into profit right there on that one remaining contract, but it didn't, because it only went right. It only got me right at my target. It didn't go deeper in, so it didn't trigger my ATM. So I'm still sitting at a point here. I believe it's a point. I'm going to tighten it up because I don't want to take a complete loss here, because I've got one contract at a full point. Okay. So I don't want to, if this thing wants to come back, since my trailing stop did not move, I don't want to lose.
Stop filled.
There we go. I went in and took it out at a 0.5 point loss. So I netted out a 0.5 point what it comes down to. For whatever reason, it did not, it didn't go high enough to get me in. So my entry was at 28.25. Okay. First target was 29.25. It went right to it, and then because looks like I was one of the early ones in line, it didn't have to punch through it to get me in, so it took me out there. But my second position I had to move to 27.75, and it took me out there. So that's another point loss, it looks like. So it's a break-even trade. That's what it is. Let me go over here and pull that in. I got $17.72 out of that trade.
No, it will take a long time to get to $1 million.
Yeah, doing that, it's going to take a long time. But that's okay, guys. I mean, that's part of trading. It just didn't get me there. It just didn't move my ATM quick enough, and that's okay. But good area of bounce right here. I was just in a little bit early, but that's okay. We got a good little area of bounce right there. But that's how quick it can happen. So that's kind of cool. So you're seeing that real time, okay?
I might go again. I know it's bad to say, but
no, that's fine.
26.50.
26.50. You're kind of front run a little bit of that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of wicks right in there that I'm liking.
Yeah, I mean at 9.45, it's a pretty good candle there to potentially trade off of. So we'll kind of do that, even though it's kind of been traded off of already. But we'll watch that, and that's where you're kind of referring to as possibly.
Yeah, just with volume decreasing the way it is, and the previous 2 candles throwing wicks to the downside. I don't know. Got my wheels turning a little bit.
Okay. So let me kind of read this real quick. It said original origin code said no. Upload screenshot. Don't change your stream. Just add Discord. Okay, or origin code. I'll have to figure that out, man. I don't do the. I have a Discord channel actually, or at least a name, and I've created I think a channel, but have not added it to the live stream. So I'll figure that out. If I can do that, then and it's pretty simple to add to the live stream. Then I'll figure that out for sure, and I'll check into that. So I appreciate that, and I'll figure out how to do that, because I would definitely like interaction here for sure. All right. So did you get into that trade, Mitchell? You said you were going to.
I have not gotten in yet. And if this candle closes without a big rejection wick on the bottom, then I'm going to pull my trade.
Okay. All right, Soto, go ahead, chime in, man. Where did you trade at? I know you traded.
Yep. It happened. The same thing happened to me that I think happened to you, but on mine, I got. Sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to look at it.
You get it at the same area, same price I did, or what? Right there
No,
on
I got in at, well, I don't know where you got in
I
at.
get in
I
at
got
28.25.
Oh, no, I got in at 28 flat.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so you got in when Mitchell got in. Okay, so you should have
No,
got
I got in at 27.75.
Oh, did you? Oh, I thought you got in at 28 flat. Okay.
No, you know me. I dropped her.
That's good. No,
So,
that's good. You got a full point. That was good. Nice job.
but what happened with me, though, is I got 18. I'm trading 25 contracts. 18 of those contracts got the 1 point locked in.
Good.
But the other 7 did not.
Yeah, so it happened. Your ATM didn't move.
So I lost. Yeah, I lost 7. So I guess subtract 7 from 18. That's my net.
Yeah. Okay.
So I got 11 points, I guess, out of that trade.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, so we have a lot of opportunity right here. I mean, we might have missed it already. Volume decreasing really nice. Bounced right there at 26.75, pretty strong.
Trade.
Yeah, so I pull it at this point. We potentially missed it, but we'll be patient and watch it. But potentially missed the trade here for another opportunity. So we'll kind of wait. We got a tick minus all the commission, so it was net $17 on my end. But it's just what it is, man. We didn't get the full 5-tick run, so we'll kind of watch it. So Origin Code is kind of walking me through here, so I appreciate walking me through this Discord thing here. So let me read that. Share your link of your Discord channel right here on your live stream chat. I have a bullish bias, but I'm more of a position trader. But like you said, it all comes down to executing the time. And cool, yeah, absolutely, okay. He's a bullish bias, which I agree. You know, I like the bullish bias today. But he's more of a position trader. So when you say position trader, you talking kind of more of a swing trader? Is that what you're referring to there? For some people who might not understand the language, and make sure we're on the same page. But position traders are also called swing traders. I don't know if that's what you're discussing or if I got that wrong. So please let me know if you're a swing trader. If you can explain position trader, just say, or let me know if that means swing trading, please. Meaning you're just holding for a bigger move. That's all that means, is you're just holding for a bigger move, because we're kind of scalping here for 1 point is what we do here with the potential runner. That's kind of what we are, scalping here. But so when you say position, I'm assuming you're holding a little longer. So he says share your link on your Discord channel right here on your live stream chat. Okay. Well, I have to go find Discord. I'll probably have to do that on Monday. I'll test that over the weekend to see how that works. Because even though I have Discord, I think I exit out of it. But yeah, I'll check that over the weekend and see if we can do that and see how that works for sure. Because if that helps everybody and everybody can kind of get on and look and see how that, and get their channel and show their charts and all that kind of stuff, that would be very cool, I think. Because again, I want this to become a community here, and love the methodology will stay the same, but I also understand that everybody trades a little bit differently, and there's always there's a lot of ways to make money in the market, first off, you know. So I don't want to say this is the only way to do it, because it's absolutely not. If any method will work, quite honestly, if you're consistent to it and you know how to trade it, and you're very consistent to rules and you follow those rules. Just about any kind of method will work in trading. You know, it just depends on what your personality is and what you like to do and what your risk tolerance is. But it's all about being consistent and sticking to that, and not chasing every shiny bullet out there, if that makes sense, and changing everything, adding all kind of things to your chart so you're constantly confused. That's not what it's about. So I would, I'm very open to the whole Discord thing if it opens up more opportunity for other people to show charts and kind of talk about the overall concept of things. So I'm very interested in that. Okay, it says, Origin Code said, when I execute, I'm taking a position based on volume of the market, and how I manage my position is based on the volume of the market, so it's a long-term trading. Gotcha. Perfect. I like it. So you're definitely holding through their actual overnight sessions, or are you exiting prior to market close and it's getting liquid every day, but you're just kind of holding longer positions based on volume through the day, or are you holding for days to weeks overnight positions? I'd be interested to know that as well. because I think it's very valid, you know, very, very valid. And that suits a lot of people's personality to do that. There's no real name to what I do because it's unique, but I have to execute my trades like everyone else. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Execution is extremely important, you know. And I love the fact that you use volume. I mean, that's the core concept of the market, so I love that you use volume there. But if you don't mind me asking, Origin Code, what is your average time you hold a trade? Is it hours or is it days? I know you said long term, but does that mean intraday or does that mean overnight? I would just be interested to know that, kind of get an idea. I know Alan, which is Placid Mind, if that's correct. He does a lot of fib stuff, and he usually holds positions for longer runs during the day based on fibs, which is very cool. I know he's been doing this thing. He's been doing this for about 27 years. I've been trading 20. He's been trading about 27, so he's got 7 years on me. But the fact is that he does that just goes to show you, you know, fundamentals work, you know, and basics work, and fibs work actually. So he's mastered that apparently, and has done very well at that. So I think that's cool that everybody has a little bit different experience level and they have a little bit different expertise at different things, and I think that's good to do. So, but I think it's very important that you become a master of one thing, you know, for sure. Let that be your bread and butter, and if you want to use other things to kind of help make decisions on that, then so be it. But I think it's very good to master something and be very good at that. And I don't think it's good to be kind of okay at a lot of things, you know, and not a master of one thing, as they say. I don't think that's good when it comes to trading. I think you need to master your method, be consistent with that, and if you want to use other things to kind of framework maybe what you're good at, then that's a different story we can talk about. But you need to be good at mastering what your core concept is in trading. Okay, and ours are these tools we talk about, you know, these fundamentals: price action, volume, support and resistance, and supply and demand. That's kind of our deal, and we're pretty good at it, you know. Some days we're better than others, obviously, but overall we're pretty good at it. All right, so Origin's kind of explaining here, so let me read this chat here. So here's how it works. I trade from open to my own stop time of noon CST. Okay. If the market keeps me in a position past then, well, then I go with the flow. Max time horizon is 3 days hold time. Okay, cool. Normally I'm done trading by noon. Nice, I like it. I like it. So he definitely holds positions intraday, but he can hold overnight, 3 days time frame. So that's definitely a swing trade opportunity if he does that. But I like that he's out by noon. He kind of likes the volume of the market in the mornings, and so I like that, man. That's very cool, Origin. And assume you're pretty good at it, and I think that's cool. So nice job. I like the whole volume thing, man, and being out by the end of the day. We're liquid every day. You know, we don't hold positions overnight here. So just not my thing to do. I don't like doing it, and for what we try to teach here, starting out with a very small account, $1,000 account, we try to you have to be in and out every day, and you have to have a 1-point stop. So we don't hold positions overnight. You know, even our auto trader that we have exits every day, so it doesn't hold positions overnight either. So but there's a lot of people who do, and they're very successful at doing that. So very cool, man. Very cool. So thanks for chiming in, man. I appreciate the conversation, and definitely interested to learn more and kind of watch. It's always good to kind of learn, and you never stop learning, especially when it comes to the markets. In life, you never stop learning. So I thank you for being active in the chat. I sure appreciate it. All right. Okay, so it looks like we had a pretty good move out of there, and price is kind of doing what we thought it would do. It just didn't get a second opportunity to enter. Yeah, Alan. I'm not sure if you'd like me to share a trend following method, but I took 3 long off 38% fib retracement. Okay, 8:48 a.m., 9:20, 9:52, 38 fib is a great way to enter on a trending market. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think it's a good way. Fibs are good for areas, especially for our method. We like them for confluence. I just don't draw them on the chart very often, but I could definitely do that since we're kind of in between a trade. If you want to kind of want me to draw that up, I can do that. Are you using the fib off the hourly time frame from yesterday, for the high and low of yesterday, or is that what you're using the fib? Is that how you're framing your fib? Let me know that, and if it is, I could draw that out while we're waiting on a trade. I'd be interested to see, quite honestly, if the fib lines up to our supply and demand zones and our support and resistance zones. I'd like to see that. Because we don't use anything else here. We use just these tools to define our entries and exits and our zones. So, yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're done for trading, so that's great. We might end up being done if it doesn't give us any opportunity here, but I'm glad you'll be listening. Thanks. But yeah, tell me if you're trading off the hourly time, if you got that fib from you got that fib from yesterday's high and low, or how do you have that? And I'll draw it on the chart here so people can see it. I know it's going to at least be on the hourly, so since we're waiting on an opportunity here, I'll kind of go ahead and there is a little bit of an opportunity we just missed, but it's not a confirmed demand zone yet, so I wouldn't have drawn it either way, just so you know. And I know Mitchell and Soto, you guys are probably looking at that, but it's not been confirmed, so I wouldn't take it yet. But did y'all take it already?
I'm not. I was watching it though.
Yeah.
No, I didn't take it.
All right, so let me go to the hour time frame just so we can kind of see what Alan's done, because I like to look at that kind of stuff. And Alan has been in the chat for a while here, so for a few days anyway, a week or so, a week and a half or whatever it is, and then he's talked about this multiple times, so I'd like to draw it up real quick since we're in between trades. So I'll go to the hourly time frame and let's see where he could possibly have had that, where he would have drawn his. Alan, if you don't mind telling me where you drew your Fibonacci's from, were they from yesterday or were they from previous day or what have you? You got a bigger swing that you drew from or what? So, kind of watch that here. So I'll draw that up when he kind of tells me what his parameters were for drawing it. All right. So cool. So if you're just joining us, I appreciate it very much. Thank you for checking us out. We want this to become a fun, easy community to kind of learn and talk about trading. You know, no dumb questions. You know, but we keep it very simple for our method. But there's no dumb questions. We always like interaction and your thoughts, and because everybody brings a different perspective to trading, and which is what makes, I think, good trading available for everybody. Is there's multiple perspectives of how the market works, and it's neat to see other people's mindset when it comes to trading, and so we love the interaction here. So. Sure do appreciate Alan and Origin Code today kind of chiming in quite a bit. We do appreciate that. And, you know, Paul's always in early, and we appreciate that. I know he's working a job as well, but he usually makes his points pretty quick and then kind of listens, and he's like he did again today. Appreciate that. So if you're just here, thanks again. Sure do appreciate it. But let's see here. It might be kind of watching our zone still, this demand zone down here at 9:45. Got price coming back down. As long as the volume's going to continue to stay low, we might continue to watch that here as an opportunity. So let's just kind of keep that in mind. Okay. Let me draw, just so we can keep things going here. Draw that. All right, so we're touching our zone, top of that zone. Did you guys get in on a trade there based on support?
I left it alone, personally.
You left it alone, all right.
I didn't like the way that candle's pushing down so hard like that.
Yeah, and volume's actually increasing, so
yeah. I stayed away from it. I looked good, but it was kind of tempting. Right. But I didn't risk it.
Sure.
Photo you in?
Yeah, I took the risk and I took it.
Good. Where'd you get in at? Did you get in on the front of that, or did you front run it?
I got in. 0.75 on the bottom use, and yes.
Did it get your point?
No. Sorry, can you hear me? Yeah.
Barely. You need to talk to your sound guy.
You what?
You need to get your sound guy over there.
So you got in at 26.75. Is that what you did? You front run that little support there? Yeah. So you took a point loss then because it went to 25.75. So you lost. Is that what you did?
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can understand why you took that trade for sure. But yeah, it was definitely a little higher risk, but I can understand why you decided to take it. But no problem, man. That's part of it, right? You're willing to risk that, and okay, if you took a loss, you understood that, you knew what that was, and you're willing to take it, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
That's all part of it. I know you're up still pretty good for the day, and so not a. And so you can take a little higher risk of trade when you're up, like he's
65 points.
Yeah, I mean, and he's probably not far from that, to be quite honest. Prior to that trade, he was probably in the 40s or 50s anyway. So, so you can afford to take a little higher risk trade when you got some cushion. Okay. So we're
looks like a beautiful girl in Thailand to me. Very tempting, but always hiding something.
No ladyboys, man.
We did go to a Ladyboy Cabaret show.
Oh no, that's funny.
It's not what you think. They're not filthy like you think. It's not like a Bangkok one. You know what I mean? It was it was like a straight up production, like an event.
Ladies, it's probably
I'll have to tell you all about it. It's not like you think, but it was fun. Okay. Of course, when they figured out we were Americans, they set us row 1, seat 1 and 2.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I bet.
They needed me on stage for things.
Yeah, I'm sure. You were just right for the picking, I'm sure.
I was terrified.
I bet you were. That surprised me. You even did that.
Well, not much choice. They were very strong.
All right, guys. So if you're looking at our chart right here, we are in a zone. So you might be wondering why am I not taking this trade here? I'm not taking the trade here just because of this candle here at 10:30. It's just a very heavy candle, but there's no rejection wick out of it. So it just tells me that there's no sign of it slowing down. I mean, it's starting to reject nice now, but it's after the fact, and that's not what we do. So that's not good price action for me to be comfortable with that says we're going to bounce here. We are obviously bouncing a little bit, but it's not a high opportunity. It's not a high probability opportunity because of that candle right at 10:30 is such a heavy candle. It's a full-bodied candle to the downside, so that just shows pretty strong momentum to the downside. And I'm not, based on that, I didn't take the trade coming into this zone. Okay, so you could say after the fact now, hey, you could have taken it down here and you would have got your point. Well, yeah, I definitely could do that after the fact, but that's like I said, we don't do that. That's not how we trade. So price action was just not telling me that this is the time for this thing to bounce based off that 10:30 candle. Okay, so even though we're in a zone, that's only just one check box, right? We need other boxes checked and had some area of support and resistance there, but that's only 2 check boxes. Volume was actually increasing, so that automatically puts an X in that box, right? And then price action shows heavy volume to the downside, a heavy, just feels heavy. It's a full body candle to the downside, so that puts an X in that box. So I have 2 X's for negative and 2 checks for positive here. So that means it's a no trade for me. Just so you're wondering, we have the zone drawn up, yeah, and we might get a little bit of bounce out of that, but it's just not a high probability of a good strong bounce out of that. Okay, so just want to explain that just in case you're wondering why we're not in a trade here, and that those are the reasons. This is a good example why you need all of them to line up right here and not just a couple of them. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to everybody. But that all this is telling me right here that there's potential now for our original area that we had drawn up in this middle box right here, and this support here. It tells me that possibly will come into play now, and we can look for.
You're talking about down around 29.20, 29.1975.
Yep, exactly. That box we had drawn originally, that demand zone at 9:30 we had drawn. This just tells me that because of that price action, all at 10:30, because that price action candle, all because of that one candle, tells me we might have opportunity now.
And it's coming down there hard right now.
It's coming in nice, but it's pushing rejection wicks, which is
and I love that.
At 10:35, we got a rejection wick on the bottom. That's a good sign for us. Yep. So we're starting to check off the boxes again as we're coming into this area. So this is a good example of why we let everything line up right here. Okay. So we could look for a nice bounce opportunity. Volume's decreasing again, even though the price is coming down. Volume's still decreasing, which is good. So we'll kind of keep an eye on this price action right here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking for a potential trade right now at 19.75.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's.
See if it gets down there. Going back to the trade there that I lost. At the time, when it was coming down, I know it was strong, but what I was thinking was it was going to hopefully reject out of that area and then a long wick behind, right? And unfortunately, because at the time, volume was still below average, or below the previous one, but it was slightly increasing. I didn't think it was going to be that strong. Unfortunately, I was wrong. So I was... It didn't double with price. I mean, it didn't double with volume. It has a slight increase, but obviously enough to push down. So obviously wrong, and but it cost me a point, and that's all right. So I was willing to take the risk based on the what I thought was going to happen, right?
Sure, absolutely, and that's all we can do. First off, people understand nobody can read the market 100%, right? We can just make an assessment based on what we feel is a good opportunity and commit to it one way or the other. And if it goes for us, then great, you look like a hero. If it goes against you, then not so much, but you already had that risk defined anyway, right? So
correct. Yeah, I'm like you guys said earlier, I'm up even after that loss. I've lost 7 contracts on that one trade we took. I think you and I did that. You got your some point. I got a point on 18 contracts, but the last I lost 7 on the rest. So I lost 7 points plus now 25 from this one, but I'm still up 41.5 points for the day.
Yeah,
so I took that risk, but knowing that I can afford to take it, at this time of the day.
Yeah, and that's a key thing you just said. You can afford to take the risky trade. You can afford to do that because you've done so well early on. You can afford to take it, and that's the key. That's the key word right there. That you can afford to do so. So we just have to know that going in. So, but at this point, you're still up 40 points, which is great. But that also means now because you're trading a lot of contracts that we got to be very confident in this next trade that you decide to take here.
Correct.
Because you don't want to wipe out the majority of that by taking a loss, So, so we just have to be in 10:38, knowing that we shut this thing usually down by 11:15. That we got to be pretty confident in this next opportunity to trade. So I got an order in at 29.20 flat. I'm going to front run that by 1 tick of the demand zone. But I've got, if you're looking at my chart, I got pink arrows kind of drawn up just because they stand out a little bit. I got these arrows kind of drawn up to kind of show you why I'm considering to put my trade in right here at 2025, is because this first line up here at the top around that circle, well, that's showing me support and resistance areas, okay? It was resistance, but fully counting on it become support right now, so check mark 1's there, okay? Check mark 2 is supply and demand zone drawn up. It took off out of that area, so we know that's a good area of demand. There's buyers there, so because price really took off out of that. The very next candle, even though it was the market open, there's volume there. So I got my supply demand zone that meets all our criteria. It's there. Volume's decreasing right now. Still low and decreasing, so I'm watching that. Okay, got to be very conscious of that. So that's 3, right? So price action, I'm liking the wicks building. So let me draw lines on those without. I just don't like to overcrowd my chart too much, but we got wicks forming here, which I'm going to draw multiple arrows for that. So really trying to explain the process here. Oops, wrong thing there. Wicks forming here as we're coming down into this area of potential demand. We got wicks forming. So those are all of my check marks right there that are kind of being checked off. They're not being discounted, they're being checked, right? So that's meeting the criteria. I'm not using order flow for this purpose right now for the channel, even though I do have it pulled up on one of my other charts. I'm just not using it at the moment. But I could, I guess, but I'm not doing that right now. It'll be too confusing, I think. But so anyway, with just those 4 tools, we're kind of watching price, and everything at this point's lining up. So we're going to keep this trade in right here because remember, guys, we do things before price gets to our areas. We've qualified it or disqualified it. Okay, it's very important. Qualify it or disqualify it prior to price getting there into our area of potential trade. So, and that's what I've done here, and that's what all the pink arrows are showing you. It's showing you price action, which are these wicks right here. It's showing me some rejection, that there's people buying at these areas right here, because remember, all the market is an auction process, okay, which we need to create a video kind of explaining that, but that's really all it is an auction process. So at these areas right now, we're showing that people are willing to buy at these locations. We got buyers coming in at this area. That's what this whole rejection wick's about, okay, to the upside here. So we're watching that. So that's giving us good ideas that we got people interested in buying at these prices here. Okay, so that's one of our check marks. Okay, over here to the left again where the circle's at on my chart, that's showing support and resistance areas that are confirmed and have been respected. These are not potentials, that's what they were. They've proven they were resistance at one time. 3 strong resistance areas has been broken to become support now, so we're watching that. Okay, then we have a demand area drawn up here. And this area right here, this box is at, this blue box, that's a demand area. Okay, and that's been qualified based on our rules, what defines a supply and demand area, and this qualifies as a hidden demand area. So we're going to watch that. And I got volume down here at the bottom decreasing and coming into that area. So what that shows is weakness, is what that shows into this area. So it shouldn't be hard in this scenario. It shouldn't be hard for buyers to overtake sellers and bounce up from here when we get into this area. That's what our whole premise is based on. Okay, we're looking at where our buyers are strong enough to overtake our sellers when we go long, and vice versa when we're going short. We're looking where our sellers will overtake our buyers to go to the short side. We're looking to trade down. But here we're looking to trade long, going up, bullish. So we're looking for that area of where we feel like sellers are getting really tired and buyers are going to come in and overtake. Okay, so that's the whole premise of the whole method here. So you kind of see it all come together. I'm trying to draw it out and explain it ahead of time as this thing's happening, so we can just listen to the thought process, looking at the method, and seeing what it wants to do for us. Okay. Obviously, you see that it's definitely confirming some buyers in here. It's not to our area where we feel like the real buyers will come in yet, so we're just kind of hanging, waiting. But I still feel like the real strong buyers are going to come in this area, and I'm willing to put a trade in at 29.20. I mean at 29.20 even, believing that we're going to get some strength coming out of the 1975 area. And I've got a 1 point stop, guys, so I'm willing to risk that 1 point for me to be right. It's a really good area right here, from 1975 all the way down to 17 even. Really is a really strong area, but unfortunately for what we do here, we have a swing trade that we do at night, but here I only have a 1 point stop, so I have to pick my entry where I feel like I'm comfortable with, and right now I'm at 20, and if it wants to go below there and go deeper in the zone, then that's just the risk I'm willing to take. And that's where everybody's a little bit different. We just have to kind of Mitchell I know is deeper. Soto I think is deeper in the zone, so they're taking a little bit. They're a little bit more risk adverse right here on this method, which is great. But they're willing to miss the trade if it doesn't get there. But they're willing to take the trade on their terms as well. And that's very, very important. Okay.
Yeah, Vicky, I also want to say again, going to the 1 point talk, is I think like you mentioned, obviously since you taught me this, how important the 1 point stop is. Let's say going back to the trade that I lost, those few contracts, 7 contracts, whatever. What if I would have been like, well, let me move that 1 point stop a little down because it's going to bounce off this area, right? I really think that's going to happen. So I start moving that. Well, I would have to move it to at least 22.25, and I'm still within the downside, right? So I'm still being in this trade, losing money. So
yeah, you'd be down 4 or 5 points, and that's so hard to dig out of, man. That's the reality of it. Yeah. It's hard to dig out of that. So why put yourself, into this? Something I was taught early on by big institutional investors is a successful trader. One thing that defines a successful trader is how quick are they wrong. Okay, how quick can they agree that they're wrong and get out of a position? That's going to define what your potential trading opportunities and what your career path and your term of trading will be, because you can't take big loss. You got to be willing to be wrong very quickly, and if you're willing to do that, then you'll tend to have a pretty good career, because your winners are going to should always outweigh your losers eventually. But it's how quick can you be wrong, and that's one of the things that's always stuck with me. That's the reason we use a 1 point stop. I'm willing to be wrong quickly and for just 1 point. I'm not willing to be wrong for 5 and 6 points. That's just going to eat you alive in your account. That's how you blow up accounts very quickly.
And it makes no sense as well to move a 1 point, like to move your stop when to come out of the position is only 1 point, but you've dropped it down to 2 points. Now you're willing to lose more than you're willing to make.
Sure, exactly right.
You're upside down there.
Yep. Here's your trade coming in. You get picked.
I'm watching it. Yeah, I got a position at 20 there. I'm holding it on there right now because I still like the rejection that's happening right here. I'd like it to come down here and tag me and then reject, obviously. So, but it's showing me there's a lot of buying, selling going on right here. There's a little battle that's taking place right here. So I'd like for it to be pushed down and then grab buyers. That's what I'd like to see right here. So we'll see if it gets to us. One thing we got to look at. It's just pushed 1 tick past this first resistance at 21.25. It's gone to 20.75, so it might not even get back into our zone because it's pushing into resistance our support right here. It was old resistance, right? So we know there's going to be some bouncing in there. We just want it to get a little bit deeper before it takes off, but we had a good idea it was going to bounce out of that. Okay, and it did. It absolutely did. It bounced at 21 even. Which we had good resistance at 20. We had good resistance at 20.5. So we got an area it's bouncing out of, and we might miss the trade. That's okay, but everything's working absolutely perfect right now. It just didn't get deep enough into our zone at this point in time, and because of that bounce right there, I'm actually going to move my. I'm going to wait 48 more seconds to see what this candle does, but. If this candle closes right here, then I have to well, for me, I got to move deeper into the zone. Okay, so I won't front run the zone. And because of what's going on right now, I'm going to kill my trade.
Order canceled.
Still thinking I'm going to have an opportunity to trade. It's just not going to be at that price level, I don't believe. I think I'm going to have to go deeper into the zone now, because I think it's still going to come down here and it's going to bounce. So I still have to be patient and wait and see. But
I'm sitting at 19 and a quarter right now.
you still at 19 and a quarter? Oh, are you?
I thought you were at 19 and 3/4.
Well, now I'm at 19 and a quarter.
Okay, so
All right, I'm going 19 and a half.
I'm going to move
that was my other spot. I've had that spot for hours.
all right, yeah, I like the spot. Nothing wrong with that.
Wait, what spot were you in, Mitchell?
I was at 3/4. Now I'm at a half.
Okay. So, I have little, so I'm using the two zones that are overlapping, and the overlapping is from 19 to 0.75 to 19 flat. So I feel like that's going to be a strong area if it gets down there.
Yeah, I like that. That's all right. That 19 flat is also a VPOC on a order flow from a previous candle from our 930 demand zone. Okay, that 19 flat's a VPOC there. So kind of watch that for a potential bounce into that area for sure if it wants to give us that opportunity. So we'll see that. No, but it's taken off pretty good.
What do y'all think about 29.5 for a short side?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's an opportunity to be short. For sure, that's an opportunity to be short there. That is a zone to the short side. So we could definitely look to trade that if it gets back in. And I'll mark that up because I think it's a good strong zone if it gets up there to short out of it. So gotta be willing to look
I may
at
be
it.
sick, but I'm still.
You're still doing it, ain't you?
Still calling them.
Well, that's good, man. That's good. All right. So let me see. Alan said measured the three legs up on the 5 minutes, starting at 8:20, ending at 8:40. Okay. So yeah, go ahead. I mean, we're just talking. Y'all keep going. I'm just gonna do something real quick.
What were you gonna say, Soda?
No, never mind. There was a study that showed that people that are ill, like yourself, they still perform at the high level athletically. So they injected a group of athletes with the flu virus, and they make them perform at their athletic level with their respective sport. And they still were performing at their, at their max level. So so you can still do the same thing physically, just mentally you don't feel like you can't. So you should be able to.
That's crazy you say that because I feel like I had the most productive day of work yesterday that I've had in probably a year, and just laying in my bed working. I felt terrible, but I was able to get a lot done.
Good, yeah.
Maybe they should let me work from my bed every day. But it smells like Skid Row up in here. We've got to get some things changed. Like Denver early in the morning before they spray the streets off.
Yeah, no worry, Alan. I see you driving or you're a passenger with a bad connection. No worries, man. No worries there. But I appreciate you hanging with us. That's cool. I like that. You're in the car listening. That's cool, man. So he's gone on a 1 minute. He's telling me his legs here, so I'm kind of looking at that. But I got to be patient because I might be looking for a short opportunity here too. And it also just we go be aggressive. An aggressive entry is going to be right coming in here, right at the top of this zone, or at the beginning of this zone at 75, 27.75.
27.75, yeah.
That's an aggressive entry to the short side.
It just scares me with that candle being solid.
Yeah,
like that.
I understand. I agree with that. Yeah.
But it's starting to throw a wick now. So I mean,
volume staying low where it's not overtaking previous volume.
Yeah, it's potential. Yeah.
I mean, and it's It's using that wick at 1015, with a support of resistance at 2825. So it's a potential high risk entry to the downside there if you wanted to try to do it, but it's definitely high risk. But we could see rejection out of it. Is all we're saying. And actually, hold on a minute. Wait a minute here. We might have it actually. I'm not paying attention here, but maybe a potential little head and shoulders here.
See, I was going to call that out.
Or you weren't going to call that out.
I was not. I'm kidding.
The only head and shoulders I've ever used has been a shampoo.
Yeah. I'm going to draw.
That was something I learned. That was something y'all learned while I was cave splunking in Thailand.
Little head and shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something I was trying to teach BK, but man, it was hard to go over some stuff with him again.
I tried to ask Soto, he told me what y'all learned, and then I was like, oh, well, can you teach me? And he said, no, I mean, it'll just be better if you can just learn it, next time it's brought up.
Yeah.
That's because I can't teach it to you, because I haven't mastered it yet.
Yeah, so we're actually, just so you understand, we're actually into that neckline of that head and shoulders right now. That zone we called out just a second ago, that's actually into the neckline of a head and shoulders. I got it drawn on my chart, just for the heck of it, so people can kind of see what we're talking about. I'm not saying we're going to trade it, right? But it kind of gives me a little more confidence to take this trade in our supply zone that we drew at 1025. That actually gives me a little more confidence that we might get a push down here, because it is a little head and shoulders pattern. People recognize that. That's the only reason to point it out. People recognize those and look at them, so it's all kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy of at least head and shoulder, these different patterns, and volumes decreasing, moving up here, so it could be an area we front run or right at 29 even, potentially we have a short opportunity. We have to watch that. So we have to watch that. If it gets up there, it might not even get up there, but if it does, then it's just more potentially area of supply that we could jump on the trade here. It's 10:56, so we're kind of moving into that 11 o'clock hour, which we're usually in with. But I think we'll hold on just a little bit longer because of where we're at right here. We're kind of in between some potential areas of trade. So I think we'll hold it here just for a few more minutes. Yeah, it looks like we're bouncing right there out of that neckline, actually.
So now what is head and shoulders?
Well, can you see my chart on YouTube?
Yeah, let me flip over to it. I don't like that.
Yeah, just flip over to it since we're not in a trade right now. You can flip over to it. You can see I've drawn it up, and let me kind of. This is kind of what it's supposed to look like, as far as left shoulder here. I got a circle on the left shoulder. I'll circle kind of the head, and then the right shoulder.
Okay.
You have a right shoulder right there. So it kind of is the head and shoulders and what you normally see on a good head and shoulders pattern. That's confirmed. This neckline, which is right here at 10:15, you usually draw the left shoulder in a downward move. Left shoulder to neckline, you kind of draw a little line there. And that can kind of be your area that price should break out of or reject out of. It's kind of what it says, but this is a little bit too steep. For a neckline, what I would consider a good neckline, it's a little strong, a little steep for that, but it actually coincides with kind of going into our temporary supply zone there. So that's the reason I'm saying it still might be active, it still might be good, but that's kind of the basic look of it. I'll get rid of this neckline so it makes it easier to see. But you see that, Mitchell? Kind of what that's representing?
I see it. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So that's the typical head and shoulders. I'll put left for L. There, that's our left shoulder. This would be our head. If it were to hold, not saying it's going to hold. It might not hold. I'm just saying that's what people are looking for a head and shoulders pattern. Okay, so left shoulder, our head, and our right shoulder. Okay, so our neckline is actually in this area right here where we discussed. It's actually rejecting out of that pretty good. Okay.
So where would you trade typically in one of these patterns? In the neckline?
Yeah, you trade back into the neckline, and is kind of where you would trade out of, and that's kind of where price is rejecting. Because it kind of, you know how we talked about originally, that 1015, that wick right there would be an area of rejection potentially, because it's kind of a zone, and we also have support to the left over there at 2825, right? Our was resistance. So that would be the area it's bouncing out of right now. So that would be the trade. And if this happens, if this becomes a true head and shoulders, it's gonna break all the way down, for sure. It will break down pretty deep. Okay, so which is happening right now, which is doing. So it would have been a good opportunity to trade. It just didn't get back up into our supply area for our trade. But if you were trading true head and shoulders pattern, then you could have definitely traded right into that 28 flat to the downside. You definitely have made a point there. Okay, so that kind of what it represents. But all right, well, I'm gonna, because it's rejected out of there, I'm not gonna wait any longer for a trade. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start updating the spreadsheet here for everybody, and then I'll probably call it a day and get to the gym and all that good stuff. So hold on a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and update the spreadsheet. I'm done trading. Wow, look at that pop. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, as soon as I said that, it popped right up in there. And look at that. So hold on a second. I might.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I kind of like that.
Yeah, so I think volume's lower. Let's go through our check. Yeah. Volume's low. It's going into demand. A lot of support and resistance there. I'll take. You gonna take a trade in there?
29.50.
You got 50. So you're definitely high, a little bit high. Okay.
Yeah, just for the simple fact that it's going to have to push up there and get me if it wants me.
Yeah, and I agree with that. You know, I'm not gonna. It's 11 o'clock. I'm not going to go ahead and make the trade. I think it's possibly a good trade there. Bounce right out our supply zone, right at 29 even, and bounce right off of that, which happens to be in that neckline area. So I can understand why it's doing that. Okay, volume increased a little bit to push it up there, but you know. So anyway, I think it's a good up potential. But I'm not going to trade. I'm going to call it for today. Made a half a point, so we'll leave it at that. But we'll go ahead and update the spreadsheet here for everybody.
So,
Talk to me, Goose.
I'm going to tell you, your taco truck that you're so fond of just got its own actual freestanding building.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. They built
like. Who don't know, we are avid taco truck goers to the local Huntsville area. Many people talk after it because it's not a fancy place at all.
It's the best food. It's the best taco I've ever eaten.
Yeah. Now, yes, are you at high risk of dying? Yes, absolutely, because of the area. And if you sit in the wrong spot and you accidentally sit on the needle, can you get HIV? Yes.
Come on now.
No, seriously, it's a bad area.
It's a very bad area. He's not lying.
If you survive, it's the best taco you're ever going to eat.
But no, they built this, they built like a new whole area. So like that whole area of Huntsville is being, whatever they call it when they bring a bunch of millennials in and try to pump money into an area.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they built this whole new eat, drink, live, play area, and that taco truck was out front for the longest time, and now they have their own restaurant inside of it. And I got an email the other day that said that the truck will no longer be, and they're going full brick and mortar.
Wow. Where is that at? Is that in Madison?
It was on Governor's for the longest time.
So is it right there around the Top Golf, all that area again?
Well, no, it's on the other side of 565. So you know where like Campus 805 is, where they turned that school into a brewery?
No, I don't know. I don't know
very well. Well, it's like Governor's Drive. They basically turned that whole area into new Huntsville, and they turned an old elementary school into it's got 5 or 6 breweries inside of it. And down the road from it, they turned an old mill into this place, which is called Stovehouse, and it's got 4 or 5 restaurants and
a great tea spot. That's where the tea spot is, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the best tea you're ever gonna have.
Piper and Leaf.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I live right there, so I have braved the storm.
All right, well, let me update the spreadsheet.
Like, man, Mitchell, we're trying to get property over there where you live. Well, good luck.
All right, let me update this spreadsheet real quick. We can continue the conversation so people can leave out of here. So good job today. We took Soto's first trade. He was the first one out of it this morning. Got 1 point. So good job. Like I said, if you're just now joining us, this individual results here is what the whole challenge is based off of, the channel. 1 point a day challenge, okay? That's what it's based off of. And we don't take my trades. Since I've been doing this for 20 years, we take Soto's or Mitchell's first trade. Whoever trades first, whether they win or they lose first, that's the one we take. Okay, so we're not cherry picking trades here by any means. We're taking the first trade out of the day from one of those guys, and whether they win or lose, that's what we put on here. So this is to show you that the challenge can be done. This is starting at a $1,000 account, trading 1 contract with a 1 point stop and a 1 point profit target. Okay, so it's a 1-to-1. So you have to be very good at your entries, and that's what we concentrate on. And we do that for a reason, and not because it's hard. It's very, very hard. So, but anything worth doing in life is usually pretty tough. So we want you to master and get really, really, really good at making entries and making good judgment, and not just gunslinging here. We don't want that. So you want to learn how to get those entries and make them good. So we start, this is what you see right here on this chart. So we're 31 days in. Look at we've only lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days out of 30 days. So, and we had two times we lost back-to-back days, but the rest of the days have been profitable. So, and we have commissions taken out. So all this cost is either net commissions or plus commissions. So the days you lose $55 because you have to add in your commission, right? The days you win 44 because you have to subtract your commissions. So we're not sugarcoating anything here. So
now, why is mine when I'm at 46?
46 what?
My commissions are only $3.64.
That's because you have a lifetime license on your Ninja Trader. Okay. So we're not showing lifetime license. So if people don't buy the lifetime license, they're going to pay a higher commission per pound turn. And that's what we're doing. We're showing worst case, man. We're showing if you don't buy a lifetime's lot. Yeah. I'm just going to explain it. So if you don't, what you're saying, if you have a lifetime, you're only going to have $3.60 commission here. But because we're not showing a lifetime license, we're showing a $5.20 round turn commission. Okay. So as you can see, they started with $1,000 and it's up to $1,799.20. So you've net profited. This is net profit of $799 in 31 days of trading. So at 1 point stop and 1 point profit target. So we're on a very good track to keeping our 3 points a day or 3 points a week average right now. That's what we want to maintain. So you just got to let this go and let this compound. And we'll show that. I'll make a video on what that's going to look like. But we're doing a very, very good job right here. So good job, guys. That's all kudos to Mitchell and Soto there. They're new traders, so that means if they can do it, you can absolutely do it. Just for the fact that they're new to it and they're doing a great job, staying with the method. So good job, very good job. Up to $17.99.20. Good job there. So on the left-hand side now, we're doing kind of a team just for the fun. Just for the fun of it, we kind of do a little team tracking, and we just show one contract there. Okay, we just show one contract here, just because it's easier to, because we're all trading different size volume. I keep small for the channel, and I want to make sure it stays small for the channel and let that grow as we move. Just so you understand, so on the individual, as we move to 2,000, then I'll start growing with every additional 1,000. I'll start growing my contracts for the channel, but we're going to keep that small for right now. But for the team results, you see a lot of points going on. We just use one contract times how many points you made based on your contracts, because all three of us are trading different contracts. So Soto started 31 days ago, and he's up to how many contracts? 25 contracts, Soto?
28.
28.
Oh, yeah, sorry, 25 trading now, but I'm tomorrow or whatever day we trade 28.
Yeah, so on Monday you're going to be trading 28. You're jumping 3 contracts because of compounding off of this 1 point a day. So that's what you understand. That's what's going to happen as you get more contracts. You're going to start compounding and jumping contracts pretty quick. So let's just add this up here. I got 0.5. So let's do a gross. We'll do a gross first, and then we'll do a gross loss, and then the spreadsheet will average it out. So Soto, how many did you make total today? With contract?
Yeah. Sorry, I just made 6 points and a quarter on the trade. I moved my trade. I was trading 25 contracts, but this is a little higher risk trade in my mind, so I moved it down to 10 contracts. So I only traded 10, and I locked in 5 at one point, and unfortunately came back and I locked only 5 at a tick. So I made 6 and a quarter. So anyway, so 6 plus 23.5 plus 32 plus 18 is 79.75.
79.75 gross, okay. And how many did you lose?
Then, I lost. Let's see. 32.
You lost 32 points. Okay, so Mitchell, what did you do today?
I was 1 win, 0 losses.
Okay, so you are at 1 and 0. Okay, I'm at 0.5 and 0. Okay. All right, so let me add these up for everybody here, and kind of pretty simple, but we'll kind of do this for fun. You know, this is what this sheet is, just kind of for fun as a team. But we like to kind of do this to keep it going. 79.
People are going to be proud of investing Soto for investments.
Yeah, I know. but what he would say is like, guys, this is what it turns out to. You just follow the rules, follow the method.
Yeah.
This is how your contracts grow. Because this is what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't start with 20 contracts. I started with 1 contract. Just like you are, I started 1 contract and let it compound, and now I'm up to 28 contracts. I mean, that's the same concept, the exact same thing.
That's very true.
All right. So we netted out 49.25 thanks to Soto and his 100 million contracts he's trading, and then paid $588.90 in commissions. Okay, netted out 1873, so that's up to 17,496 over 31 days. So nice job as a team there. All right, but the big thing I want people to focus on is this individual results, guys. This is the 1 point a day challenge. This is so crucial for you to understand, and this is why we say 1 point can change your life once these contracts start building. Okay, once these contracts start building, that 1 point changes everything. Because just that 25 contracts where Soto's at, if he takes out 1 point for all 25 contracts, that's $12.50 a day. You know, just on 25 contracts for the same 1 point today, that's worth $50. So my point is, let it grow, let it compound, and that's going to happen a lot quicker than you realize. And like I said, thanks to Origin Code there, I'll go ahead and create a video for that, kind of showing what the potentials are with that 1 point. So, because again, you can't argue with the math. The math is the math. You know, we've got everything in here showing what, you know, we're not sugarcoating anything. The math is the math. So the only thing it can come down to is, can you make that 1 point a day? And we're proving that you can make that 1 point a day. So it's taking the challenge and accepting that and learn to do it. And if you make more points, then that's awesome, and congratulations to you. But we're just doing this 1 point a day because eventually you're not going to be sitting around here for 2 hours during the live stream. You're going to make that 1 point, and because that 1 point is going to be worth enough for you to say, I'm done for the day, I'm going to go enjoy my life, you know. And that's where we want you to get to. And that's where we want you to get to, doing it in the ES market. That's the other thing. Because of liquidity purposes, even at 1,000 contracts, guys, you're only going to have a 1 tick slip, maybe 2 at worst case possible if you don't trade in the height of the market, in the very volatile, in the very high liquid times. You're only going to get a 1 tick slip on 1,000 contracts, which is nothing, which you can make that up. No, not an issue. So, but that's why we want to trade on the ES market. We're not trading. We can trade this on the NASDAQ and everything else, but we just have to we're not going to be able to go to 100 contracts. You start getting slippage at 20 contracts on the NASDAQ. And it's only a tick or so you can definitely make good money, but it's you're just going to get slippage quicker. So that's the reason we went ahead and went to the best right out of the gate. So because you learn on the hardest platform, which yes is the hardest to learn, because the big boys trade there. It is the hardest to learn, but once you've mastered it here, you can master it everywhere. That's the beautiful thing. So all right, guys. So good job again. Again, that's the most important thing is just the individual results, the 1 point a day challenge. Okay. So again, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate everybody being here. Origin Code, Alan, Placid Mind, I really appreciate that. Paul, Mitchell, Soto, I appreciate you guys chiming in and being very active. It makes things easier. Would love to hear more from you guys as we kind of get going. LJ, hey, cool, man. Hey, I appreciate you hanging in. Hey, I didn't know you were here, but thank you very much. Glad you're here. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hope you guys can kind of subscribe to the channel, and we want to grow this thing slowly. I don't push the channel. I don't market the channel. I want this to grow very organically, and like I said, we're only 31 days into a live stream. So we're trying to figure out all the bugs in this deal as well. This is not what we do full time, is post YouTube videos and live streams, so we don't do that. We're just now learning to do that, so there's a lot of technical issues we're trying to work out still to make this a really good channel. We trade for a living. That's what we do, and we're trying to show that can be done here. So hang with us. I really do appreciate your early commitment to us, and again, just I appreciate you being here. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll go ahead and sign off, and then subscribe to the channel, and that way you can kind of get any kind of notification when we go live or we update any new videos into the channel. You'll get subscribed. You'll get once you click that, I guess, that bell icon, as everybody says, I guess you'll get notification of that. So
Awesome.
again, all right guys, thank y'all. We're gonna go ahead and sign off
Thank you.
today.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, and I hope everybody has a great weekend, and be safe, and I don't know about that, but
We'll see you later.
yeah.
You gotta let that food poisoning wear off.
All right, guys, y'all have a great
See ya.
weekend, and again, everybody, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you guys on Monday. Have a great one, guys. Be safe.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening and watching the Titan Futures 1 Point a Day Challenge. Live stream. Remember, we're live daily, 9 to 11, and BK, Soto, and Mitchell are here to help. The Titan Futures 1 Point a Day Challenge, where anyone can learn how to day trade the futures market. Till next time.